Hello, everyone, and welcome to this week's sports podcast. It's Thursday, the 25th of November, late in the evening, and unfortunately, I couldn't do it tomorrow, so I'm doing it today just to get it done, so we don't miss out on doing one. Um, Now, before we start getting into the details of this week's sporting events and looking back at last week's events, I'd just like to start by paying tribute to Sam Smith. Um, Sam, a friend of mine and many of us, fellow Halifax Town fan, um, local cricketing legend really, um, popular guy, um, sadly passed away rather suddenly recently, and I feel that it's only right we should pay tribute to him here. Um, Sam's probably best known in local circles for his time and his involvement with Illingworth St Mary's, a cricket club. Um, he was at the turn of the century one of the top players. He was the captain at the turn of the century and also as a club secretary for a couple of seasons, following in the footsteps of his father Keith, who was also a very prominent and probably one of the most well-known local cricketers of my sort of like youth. Really, I remember seeing stories about Keith in the Kerry Regular as a young man. So I just want to say my thoughts are with Sam's wife Heidi and all his family and friends at this very difficult time. I enjoyed my conversations with Sam at the Shea. He was obviously a fellow Halifax Town fan. Like I said, I've mentioned already his cricket links. Big cricket fan, travelled over the world to watch England. And he was also a big horse racing fan. We used to talk about bets and we used to talk about the big meetings like Cheltenham and things like that at the Shays at half time. And like I say, sorry to see what's happened and very sad news really. And thinking about everybody involved. So rest in peace, Sam. Moving on, sort of linked slightly, a bit more upbeat. We talk about cricket, and it's the Halifax Cricket League. A reminder, it's the Halifax Cricket League dinner at the venue at Barkisland tomorrow evening, Friday the 26th of November. There may still be tickets available. You can always check with your club if you haven't got one yet and you still fancy going, or check on the Halifax Cricket League website. Like I mentioned last week, there is a number on there you can ring to try and reserve a ticket if there are any left. So if you are going tomorrow evening, I hope you all enjoy yourself. It's a good evening. Right, now moving on to football, and we're going to talk first of all about European football this week, and starting with the Champions League. And it was a good week for all the English teams. All four of them had victories this week. As it stands, Manchester United are now top of their group after beating Villarreal. Obviously, they've got issues with regards to the manager, and I'll come on to that in a moment. But they won 2-0 Villarreal, confident performance there. Goals by Ronaldo, not a real surprise, and also by Jadon Sancho, his first goal for the club, saw them to a comfortable win. And that puts them at the top of the group, I think, for now. They just need a draw, I think, to guarantee their place in the next round, but Tomorrow certainly through anyway. Also on Tuesday evening, we saw another victory for Chelsea, and they're top of the group on goal difference after beating Juventus comfortably, really, on Tuesday night, 4-0. Good to see some of the young English lads coming through well there. Hudson-Odoi scored one of the goals, and we also had goals from Trevor Chalobah. I think that might be his first goal actually in the CDT. I'm not sure, but I stand to be corrected by a Chelsea fan. He had a good performance, I've got to say, and we also had a goal for Timo Werner at the end. But yeah, a good performance by English lads there. Oh, sorry, forgot to mention Reece James. He's got a good goal. He's been in good goal scoring form recently, so well done to them. And like I said, they're ahead of the group on goal difference, and to guarantee top spot, they need to beat Zenit in the last game. It depends on what Juventus do. They're both through anyway, so that's not a problem. And on to last night's games. Exciting victory for Manchester City. They came from 1-0 down against PSG at the Etihad Stadium to win 2-1. A thoroughly deserved victory, I thought. I watched the game. It was a very good match to watch. And they've won the group now with that victory. Liverpool had already won their group, and they had a comfortable victory really last night. 2-0 against Porto at Anfield. Highlights probably were, well, obviously Salah scored, but fantastic goal finished by Thiago Alcantara. That's a nice way to see him back into the team, starting to find his way back into the team after suffering from COVID injuries over the last 12 months or so. So good to see him there and doing well. So things are going well in the Champions League. Now this evening we had the Europa League games, and West Ham won 2-0 away to Rapid Vienna, and they've won their group now. Celtic managed to grab defeat from the jaws of victory, really, I've got to say. They were 2-1 up with 8 minutes to go. They lost 3-2, and that means they're now going to be in the conference, the Europa Conference League in the new year, because they're out, because they can't catch the two teams at the top of the group. Leverkusen ones they could have caught, but they basically threw the game away by the sounds of it, and they're now eliminated and into the Conference League. And in the later games tonight, we've got Leicester have beaten Legia Warsaw by 3-1, so it seems like they will need a draw from the last game away to Napoli, which won't be easy. They're going so well at the top of the Serie A in Italy this season. So Napoli lost yesterday away to, I think it's Spartak Moscow. So all four teams are still with a shout here. Leicester were at the bottom of the group at the start of the evening, now they're at the top, but they could still go out. But a draw should see them through. They might not win the group with a draw, but it certainly should see them through. And then the other late game, Rangers are through to the next round because Bromby lost to Lyon 3-1, and Rangers won by 2-0. Morella scoring both goals in their game against Sparta Prague this evening, so now they're guaranteed to go through to their next round in second place. So well done to Rangers on reaching the knockout stages as well. So overall positive results there in the Europa League as well. In the conference, Europa Conference, Tottenham were defeated 2-1 away to Slovenian side Mura. Not a good result at all. Tottenham found themselves up against it in the second half. They were down to 10 men for quite a large chunk of the game. Although it did look like Mura were tiring towards the end. The score was 1-1. They'd taken the lead after 11 minutes of Mura. Tottenham got back into the game through Harry Kane. But we did concede a late goal. In fact, I think it was the 94th minute. So they lost 2-1. So it means basically in the last game they've got to beat Rennes, who are top of the group at the moment, to get through. So it's not been such a good run for Tottenham so far in the Conference League, and they'll be hoping that they can still scrape through in the last game. Not sure they've taken it quite as seriously as they'd like to throughout the tournament so far, but now Conte's in, you'd like to think they will. He's got a winner's mentality. You'd like to think he will see them through to the next stage. So we'll see what happens in match day 6 for them, but touch and go as it stands at the moment for Tottenham. Okay, so now we're going to come back to the Premier League and look at what's happened in the last week or so. And I've got to say the main story has been the fact that after a 4-1 defeat at Watford last Saturday, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer was relieved of his duties at Old Trafford. As a result of that, Michael Carrick's been placed in caretaker charge of the club. He had a good start, obviously, with the result in the Champions League on Tuesday night against the Villarreal, and he will be in charge for Sunday's game, the big game of the weekend, away to Chelsea. But this evening it has emerged that United are close to agreeing a deal with Ralf Rangnick, the former RB Leipzig manager. Is currently at Lokomotiv Moscow, and they're just trying to sort out the financial aspects apparently on that deal. So expect to see that go through in the next day or two. I think he could be a smart choice, as I say on TV. I've been impressed by what I've seen of him when he's been on Sky in the last couple of years, and I think it might be an astute choice until United perhaps can get the first choice, which was apparently is Mauricio Pochettino from PSG. We'll see how that develops as well later in the season. But as it stands, it looks like Ralf Rangnick's going to be taking over, and like I say, he won't be in charge this weekend when United have that tough game away to Chelsea. Now, last weekend, I've mentioned the Man United result. That was a good result for Watford, but Chelsea, Liverpool, and Manchester City all had comfortable wins. Liverpool beat Arsenal comfortably 4-0 at home. Man City had a 3-0 victory against Everton, and Chelsea won 3-0 at Leicester. Leicester's home form's not been so good, although they did manage to win tonight, I say, in the Europa League. So they marched on. The surprise perhaps was the fact that West Ham were beaten 1-0 at Wolves. Raul Jimenez scoring a winner there for Wolves. West Ham had been in a good run of form. They haven't lost for quite a few weeks, so we're disappointed with that. And like I say, they've bounced back tonight as well in the Europa League match. Elsewhere, Steven Gerrard and Dean Smith both won their first matches in as managers of their new respective clubs. Dean Smith saw Norwich come from behind to win their first game 2-1 against Southampton. And Steven Gerrard saw Villa pick up a 2-0 win with 2 late goals, one from Ollie Watkins and one from Tyrone Mings against Brighton. So a good start for those. Eddie Howe in his first game at Newcastle had to isolate because he's been positive. He tested positive for COVID, so he couldn't be there at the stadium. Had to watch from a hotel room. And Newcastle managed an exciting 3-all draw with Brentford. They'll be hoping things will improve this weekend when they're away to Arsenal at the Emirates on Saturday lunchtime. That's the BT Sport Live game this weekend. I've already mentioned the main game being the Chelsea game on Sunday at 4 o'clock. That is, like I say, the main game this weekend. Other games on TV this weekend are, I'm just checking back to my list of things that I've got here. We've got Brighton against Leeds on Saturday tea time on Sky, and we've got Brentford against Everton on Sunday at 2 o'clock on Sky. Now, also, this is we've got 2 rounds of Premier League fixtures coming up now in the next few days, because next midweek sees the first of the midweek rounds. They don't have many of these in the Premier League. It's the first of the season's midweek rounds on Tuesday, Wednesday and Thursday. And the highlights from those evenings, I think, are Everton against Liverpool in the Liverpool derby, on a Merseyside derby on Wednesday evening. That kicks off at 8:15. And on Thursday night, 8:15, we've got Manchester United against Arsenal. All those games are exclusive to Amazon Prime Video. So if you've got Amazon Prime, you'll be able to tune in and watch those games. The other highlights from the midweek games, probably Watford against Chelsea, see what happens there. And we've also got Aston Villa against Man City, so I'll be keeping an eye on that one, hoping we don't get tonked. But those are the games coming up in the next 2 rounds, and I'll give you a roundup on those when we do next week's podcast. Probably Friday it'll be next week, hopefully. So that's where we are in terms of the Premier League. In terms of the Conference National, FC Halifax Town had 2 games in the past week. Victory at Dover on Saturday by 3-1. 2 goals there for Billy Waters, seeing off Dover, who put up a good fight by the sounds of it, considering the bottom of the league. And on Tuesday night, a bit of a disappointing result. We lost at home 2-1 to Wrexham. It sounded like a bit of a smash and grab, to be honest with you. Halifax were the better team for the majority of the game. They were 1 up and conceded 2 goals in the last 7 or 8 minutes. Unfortunately, I couldn't attend on Tuesday evening. I was isolating ahead of my hospital appointment tomorrow. But Paul Mullen snatched the points for Wrexham in injury time, or just on 90 minutes, I think it was just after. I was informed that perhaps one of the Wrexham goals, or if it was, I think probably the first one, resulted from a free kick which was taken from the wrong place, and it was maybe a little bit due as it was afforded in the first place. But sometimes that's what you get against teams like Wrexham. They have those players like Mullen who can just crop up and, even when they've been on the back foot for most of the game, win his team the match. So Halifax will be hoping to bounce back this weekend, although Pete Wild, the gaffer, said in his interview today that he doesn't feel they need to bounce back because we performed so well. We just need to keep doing what we're doing. They're away to Torquay this Saturday, so we're hoping to get another 3 points on the board there. I think they're fairly confident. Obviously, like I say, any defeat at home may be a little of a temporary setback, but under the circumstances, it wasn't like they played badly or anything. So let's hope they can get back on horse and get a victory again on Saturday. Okay, now moving on from football, we're going to talk about NFL and roundup of Week 11 in the NFL, and plenty of accidents, should I say, and there were a few surprises, including defeats for the Titans, who'd been on that winning streak of, I think, 6 games in a row, and also the Bills. So they were the 2 surprises. There was a tight game between the Vikings and the Packers, and the Vikings edged it on the final seconds of the game with a field goal, probably last touch of the game, to win that one. So that's a good result for them. Elsewhere, we'd already mentioned that Patriots had basically whitewashed the Falcons by 25 points to 0 in the previous Thursday's late game. And then we had victories for Everton. Obviously, the Buccaneers won the Monday Night Football, and the Chargers won the late game on the Sunday evening in our time. So there were victories there. The Chiefs beat the Cowboys. The Cardinals are the team with the best record across both divisions at the moment. They're doing really well this season. There were also victories for Washington Football Club. Ravens, I saw they won by 16 points to 13. I saw the last few seconds of that game, actually. The Browns, the Eagles, the 49ers, the Dolphins, and the Bengals. They all won as well. So, and obviously today it is Thanksgiving in the USA. So happy Thanksgiving to all the people across the pond. If any of you are watching, have a great day. We've already had one result from today. The Bears have defeated the Lions by 16 points to 14, and we have a game underway at the moment. And the Raiders are playing the Cowboys, and the current score in that game is 7 points to 6, just coming towards the end of the first quarter in favour of the Raiders. And then we've got the late game tonight as well, which is early hours in the morning here, and that's the Bills and the Saints. So the Bills are fairly strong favourites for that. Having had a tough setback last weekend, they're still going to be favourites to win that one. So let's see how that goes. And then we've got the weekend's fixtures coming up. Most of the games on Sunday. We've got Steelers against the Bengals. We've got Jets and Texans. Eagles and Giants. Panthers and Dolphins. This will be an interesting one next. The Titans and the Patriots. I'm sure Pete will be paying close attention to that. Pete Barrock will be keeping an eye on his team, see if they can make Titans lose for the second week in a row. The Bucks are playing the Colts. The Falcons are playing the Jags. The Chargers are playing the Broncos. We've got the Rams against the Packers. And then we've got Vikings against 49ers. And then the late game on Sunday evening is the Browns against the Ravens. And the Monday Night Football is Seahawks against Washington FC. So that's the full roundup of what's coming up and what's been happening over the last week or so in the NFL. Moving on to rugby now, and the autumn internationals have more or less concluded now. We have the traditional game where the Barbarians play. The Barbarians are playing Samoa at Twickenham 2:30 Saturday. So that's something to look forward to. We see all the top stars turning out for the Barbarians. The last weekend's games saw victories for Scotland over Japan by 29 points to 20. A really close and exciting kick at the end for England to beat South Africa by 27 points to 26. And likewise, a very exciting close game. Wales beat Australia 29-28 at the Prince of Palace Stadium. France beat New Zealand 40 points to 25. And on Sunday, Ireland defeated Argentina comfortably by 53 points to 7. The other game to mention was Italy beat Uruguay 17-10. So that's a roundup of what's happening in the autumn internationals. I think that's just about all I want to talk about this week. So I hope you've enjoyed this week's updates as normal. Again, if there's any comments you'd like to make, any feedback you've got, please leave them in the comments below. If I've missed anything, I apologise. If there's other sports you want to see covered that I aren't covering at the moment, I haven't done, just let me know as well. So until next week, thanks for watching, thanks for listening, and I'll see you all then. So it's bye for now.